Wow. Thank you. I love Sunday morning because this is the hardcore group. So I appreciate all you guys being here. More importantly, Bert and Richard, I appreciate being at SummerStrong. I mean, is it not an awesome experience? I mean, it is inspiring, it is invigorating. My kids hate it when I come here because, you know, like all of us, near the end of that school year or that season, you start to get a little drag in before you spend 3 days here. I'll be back Monday coaching like my hair is on fire. I promise them. They will, that first block Monday is in big trouble because I feel like I'm born again. But again, thank you. I consider this a great honor. There's nothing better than appearing in front of your peers and showing what we do, and that's exactly how I present. I'm going to walk you through some of the things we do at Byrnes, and then we're going to back up a little bit and show you some stuff that has not been presented anywhere that we've been working with since January. And I really want to get some feedback. Grab me later, send me an email, whatever, and say, yeah, I like that won't work, this is why it will work, this is why it won't work. We're always we're all in here to get better, and more importantly, I think every one of us wants to gain an edge. We're all looking to gain that edge for our program, our athlete, or client, whatever it is. And I think if you ask most sport coaches, especially football, I think most of us are involved with football. If you ask a football coach, Coach, I can give you one thing, what do you want to do? He said, I want to get faster. So I want our team to get faster, I want to get faster. So that's what we're going to show you some of the things that we do. I like to travel around, I go around, I watch a lot of programs, and I see a lot of confusion about speed training, how to train for speed, what it is, and more importantly, what I see is a lot of people are doing conditioning and calling it speed, not letting the nervous system settle down, energy system replenish, things like that. So speed is technical. If it wasn't technical and there wasn't a method to the madness, everybody could be fast. And I've heard people say, well, it's all about genes. You know, you're either born fast, you're born slow. And I think, yeah, genes have a big part of it, but I truly believe that you can improve the playing speed of every athlete in your program. That being said, you have to do it on a consistent and relentless basis. Everybody in the off season does speed college, speed drills, see it all the time. As soon as the season starts, there's no more speed work. It morphs into what the importance of the sport that's being played or conditioning. So I'm going to show you some of the things that we do on a year-round basis. Then we're going to kind of back up, and I'm going to show you some of the new stuff that we have been working with this past few months. A couple of people I want to introduce. This is Gordon Brown in the blue shirt here. He's the inventor of the Tsunami Bar. A lot of what I'm going to show you today is the tsunami science, what we do with the science that he developed. We're very fortunate. He's from the upstate of South Carolina in Anderson, so he can be a valuable resource to anybody in this area. You already met Clay. I got to tell you my story about Clay. If you've heard it, you can hold your ears, but Clay's a Byrnes guy, came through Byrnes, one of those special guys, first one in the weight room, last one to leave. Got his degree at Citadel, went to Mercer. Now he's at part of the Soronex Nation, but original plan was Clay came to me and says, Coach, I'm going to med school. I went, what? Med school? Are you crazy? You're going to go to med school, graduate, make a lot of money, go on vacation, probably have a car, brand new car, go on vacation every year, go to Europe, marry a beautiful nurse. I said, are you crazy? Why would you do that when I can help you become a strength coach and you will make no money, you will work 90 hours a week and no one will talk to you? So I won him over for a while, went to Mercer, got his master's at Mercer, now he's part of the Soronex Nation. So he's going to be the hardest working guy in the room this morning. We do a dynamic warm-up, so I'm going to just show you some of the, hopefully everybody's involved with this. We don't have a lot of room, so. The warm-up actually we do a little dynamic warm-up just to get the core heated up. Then we morph into some bounding, which I'm a real big believer in bounding for speed development, and then we do start. We do some type of starts every day, every sport, every day. This is a typical warm-up, a typical bound series, and typical starts that we do with every sport every day. Again, it goes back to you have to reinforce the technique of speed. One of the big things I see, especially in my population, is arm action. The kid, I don't even want to get started on PE classes. The kids today do not know how to run, they do not know how to skip, they do not know how to bend. So we spend a lot of time with arm action. I had mentioned we're going to show some of the tsunami science. Part of that science was Gordon Brown came one day and after we had been introduced to the tsunami bar, and he said, what if I had something that athlete would hold in their hands that would reinforce running technique? And I was very much against that because I never really liked the athlete holding anything in their hands, because the first thing they do is they're going to squeeze real tight, and then the arms are going to come up real high, and they're going to run like a choo-choo train. That definitely going to affect your speed. It affects everything, your stride length, your turnover, everything. So he showed me, we call them speed sticks. It's a flexible 13 ounces, very lightweight. The athlete holds it, it reinforces the running technique. You know, we all talk about arm angle and everything like that. It's self-coaching. So the kid, what we're looking for, they can hear the BBs going, okay? And they actually, when you run with it or you do any kind of movement with it, the stick starts to bend forward. The athlete tells me when you run with it, it feels like it's pulling you down the grass or the court. So we use it. These things are invaluable. If the kid can't hear anything, he's probably crossing his body. I mean, running. You guys have seen it. I'm preaching to the choir with you guys. But it's a really self-coaching mechanism. It really subconsciously focuses them on this arm technique, which is critical in speed. It's absolutely critical. There's a lot of comments about arm technique. Well, it helps, it doesn't help, it doesn't matter. If you don't think it matters, try and run fast with your arms at your side. So it is a vital thing. It's one of the easiest things to fix. If you can get correct arm technique, your athletes are going to be faster right off the bat. So we use these things a lot. Okay? So some of the skips we do, Clay will just get in the middle. So again, this is for you guys. So if you have a question, if you want to see anything demonstrated again, if you want to add something, please feel free to do that. We'll be around after the presentation as long as you want. So after we have a handout that has a bunch of this stuff in it, you're more than welcome to get that. But like I say, we start out with the dynamic warm-up. We do a bunch of skips. We also started doing something new this year. We started bouncing a little bit. So let's go ahead and just start out with the bounce. Literally all we have the athlete do is just bounce about 10 yards down the field. Activate the muscles in the lower legs. We get a little bit of arm swing. We can get some arm circles and warm the shoulders up just to get a little bit of bounce. All right. Some of the skips we do, let's go ahead and do a hammer skip. We call this a hammer skip. The athlete's just going to skip, and what I want to do, about every second skip, I want to hear them put that foot in the ground. I want them to be aware of running fast is pretty easy. You're vertical, you're skinny, and you're putting force into the ground. If you do that, you will run fast. So we call it a hammer skip, okay? Right? So Clay should pound it in. It's just a real rhythmic skip. There's arm action. You can go up, you can go back. Good. So that's one of the skips we do. We will do just a normal A skip. Okay, ready to go? Just a simple skip. Again, you get a lot of, you get coach running technique. Arm action's always the same. His posture is high, his chest is up, his eyes are up. He's getting really good. Technically, it's a rotation of your shoulder when you swing your arm. So all that is correcting in the warm-up. Let's go to a high knee. Another one we like, just a straight high knee. Okay, ready to go? Just get the athlete pumping. You know, pretty simple drill, up and back. Now we throw one in it for a little coordination and balance. We call it high knee with a pose or a pause. So go ahead and show them that and I'll explain. Now, working on coordination, balance, and the fact that when he restarts again, he's got to what? He's got to get his foot into the ground with some authority, and the ball of the foot, we want it to place directly under the hip. So again, that's you can get a lot of running technique just out of the simple warm-up. Jumping high knee over. Just starting to work a little bit on the just simple carry on, because we like them to get a little bit of a push off. Good. Let's go walking lunge, pretty basic. So again, just everybody's probably doing some type of a dynamic warm-up. I like that. Again, we're focusing on arm action. The arm action is always the same for every drill. And again, it's just reinforcing basic technique that will definitely carry over to the grass. You know, with this program, with these running programs, we tell the athlete, I'll tell them when we start our summer sessions June 3rd, I said the whole goal, starting on June 3rd, is for you to get not a time, but the goal, like say for football, it's that our 11 starters on offense, 11 starters on defense, that you can make one play in a game, one more play in a game this year than you did not make last year because you're one step faster. Think about that. One play in a game, an 80 play game, that individual making a play that he could not make last year, whether he's coming out of a break, whether he gets to an overthrown ball, whether he closes grass on a receiver. All we're looking for is one play. 22 plays in an 80 play game that are significant to our side. We got a good chance to win that, don't we? So that's the whole goal. We don't put a time on it. I want you to be one play faster. I want you to make one play. So you got 8 weeks. That could be a half a step, could be a full step, could be 100th of a second, but you are going to make one more play this year than we couldn't make last year. So that's kind of the mindset. We talked about the bounding series. Love bounding. It's putting force into the ground. Again, we're using the speed sticks. We do a real basic one called the scissor bound. We just want a lot of reps, good arm action, chest is up high. So that's most of our patterns go 10 yards. We'll wave in, we bring them in 10 yards, and we'll either go back 10 yards or go backward or change the direction. Another one that I really like is we call it a high bound. It's kind of like a scissor bound, then we start to reach up a little bit higher. You might have to go. So we start with the scissor, then we reach. We're really reaching on that straight leg extension. When the kids get good at it, they should be able to cover 10 yards in 3 touches. 10 yards and 3 touches is pretty athletic, pulling the ground underneath them. With the bounds, we always like to finish with a 3-step burst. Clay doesn't have room to do it here, but if he were going to scissor bound, doesn't matter what foot's up, he's going to get that foot down 1, 2, 3. He's going to burst for 3 steps. That's all we want. So now, not only are we working on running technique, but we're working on acceleration. The athlete knows what he has to do to accelerate. We get especially coming out of the high bound, we got them in a nice upright position. They're skinny. They're putting force into the ground. Now, what you'll see a lot of kids when they accelerate, they want to bend down. As soon as they take that first step, they want to bend down. You've got to break. If you do that, that's going to affect your speed. So over time, doing these drills, warm up the bounding, the athlete realizes that he has to be upright, tall, put force into the ground, and move. So again, more running technique done every day as part of a drill. We combine that, we'll do a scissor bound into a high bound to a burst. You can be creative with that. We'll do we call it a power skip, which is just to get up in the air as high as you can with the burst. So again, finish with the burst. Again, force production, finish with acceleration. The starts that we talked about, we really like these. We do a whole series of them. Kneeling starts. See, the purpose of this, it would be real easy if you could be square and in a perfect stance for every second of every play, but you're not. Any sport, you're not. So we put the athlete in uncomfortable, call them off balance starts. the idea that the athlete soon realizes the position that they have to be in to be effective. Okay? So some of the ones we do, let one knee up play. We just call it a kneeling start. We like a little bit of air under the front heel, curl the back. Now, that knee up, here's the quiz. Which foot would he push off with? Front would be obvious. The truth is, you have to push with both feet. You're pushing with both feet. He has to get this, we call this the power leg, the other one's the swing leg. He has to push off both feet to what? To gain ground. What is running? You have to gain ground with every step that you take. So again, this reinforces that. We got his arm at his side, so he's going to know what his arm action has to be. Okay? If you watch a lot of athletes, especially your young ones, when you first start doing it, the first thing they're going to do is they're going to pick their arms up. So they may have gained a little bit of ground, but is this a good running position? Because no, by the time they take their second step, which is going to be very short, now they're enacting their arms. But if you work on a drill like this, he's going to be violent with his arms right off the bat, and he or she will definitely gain more ground on the first step. Okay? So that's a kneeling start. We make it a little bit tougher. We call this a split start. Now what Clay's going to do, we do split jumps, we're going to show that, but the split start, he wants to keep his hips at the same level. All he's going to do is change feet. Go ahead, split. And then I would send him on his acceleration. So let's go ahead and do that the whole way through. Again, it's the same thing. What we're looking for here is we want him to take a nice long split. We want him to keep his hips level. We don't want him jumping up in the air on this one. So we just call this a split start. Ready, go, and go. And then accelerate out. Again, violent arm action, head and chest is up. He did not drop his head. When you watch him run, he's in a great running position on his first, on his second step, he's already gained ground. He's gained significant ground. So we can split. Let's do a split jump. Okay, this one now I want him up in the air. So a little bit of air under the heel, back toes curl. Nice high, he's chest high, his head up, focus down the field. Ready, up, and go. Just make it a little more complex. Again, why I like the split jump, when he lands, your athlete in the beginning is going to pretend they're going to be on a tightrope. They're going to put one foot in front of the other, so they're not going to be able to stay in that kneeling stance. That's not an effective way to run. Hip width apart. So by doing an off balance, by doing a movement like that real quickly they learn what the position they have to be in to be able to accelerate quickly. If one foot's behind the other, they can't even get out of that stance. So we'll make it a little complex. As they get good, we'll do a split jump to a split to a start. And in the handout, we use a whistle tweak, so it would be a 3 whistle start. So the first one's a jump, then a split, and then a start. Slow it down, but once they get good at it, it's tweak, 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 quick. I want them to react, I want them to be in a perfect position, and I want them to accelerate, okay? Next one, when they get good at that, now we start to get real creative, a little tricky with them, so we call this as a drop. We're gonna put them in a defensive stance for whatever sport they're in. Then Clay is gonna drop, we'll say his left knee down. He was a linebacker at Byrnes. I don't know what happened to him after he left Byrnes, right? Didn't he do better before, Jim? He's kind of, I'm not. So we got him in a good stance. He's in a good balanced stance, so on the first whistle, it'll be tweak, a drop, a split, and an acceleration. So again, that's just really simple, good drills. Balance, coordination, body position, posture, arm action, you're seeing all that in one simple drill. Okay, now let's go lateral. That's with the turn. Now we get a little tricky. So this time Clay's going to rotate. He's going to have to rotate. He's going to rotate this way with his left knee down, a split, and then a start. Ready? Tweak, split, start. Again, a little bit of balance issue there. Again, over time that's self-correcting. You don't have to stop. You don't have to correct it. They figure that stuff out themselves. I don't know, Bert. I might have to get my 2 Ohio guys up here. We were talking earlier. So again, you can be creative. Now, that being said, we don't do all those starts every day. You know, you're going to add some bounding, some starting technique every single workout, okay? Other off-balance stuff we do, like you've probably all seen, we do a mountain climber start. I like that because they don't know what foot they're going to land in. We do push-up starts. I'll get crazy. I'll put them on their back, make them flip over, make them start. But after the kneeling series, they're pretty aware of body posture, what they have to do to get into a good running stance to gain some ground. One of my favorite, let's do left, right, left, and out. Remember that one? This is one of my favorite. This is a real good one. Players hate this one, so of course I love it. So this one now, we call it, like I'm gonna just dictate which leg. It's gonna be left leg, he'll recover, then the right leg, then the left leg with the pause, and then he's gonna push out of there. So, all right, left, recover, right, left, and out. So what you're gonna see, now we talk a lot about assessment. That's a self-assessment drill, because what you're gonna see, your big boys are not going to be able to do that in the beginning. They're going to want to what? They're going to swing their leg out. Real hip weakness in the hips. Self-assessment right here. You'll find out for doing the day one. So let's go right, left, right now. Ready? Go. Right. And push. Again, balance, coordination. It's assessment. Running posture. Notice his chest was up, his head was up, and he was gaining ground. So all those starts done on a consistent basis over, we're on a 4-day training split for football in the summer, a couple of minutes of that every day for 8 weeks. You're gonna have pretty good running technique, okay? Any questions on that? Anything that you need to see over, Jen?
Do you feel like it's better to train off the whistle, like off the reaction of you, not him just going right, left?
The question was, is it good to train off the whistle? You can do it both ways. With me, with a big group, I use the whistle. It's easier because normally I'll be 8 across, so a little easier. Yeah, small, or sometimes I stand behind them, so they don't read the whistle. Or if I have a smaller group, it could be on a flash or anything. But that's a good question. I guess that would depend on the sport and what you thought. But that's good.
How long does a session typically take to get through that with like a large group of kids?
If you're working on it, and I would throw a couple of things that I would do. I would start with a kneeling start, and then I would add the split jump next, and then the split jump with the split. So I would do 3 of those the first day, and I would stay on that. They pick up on that very quickly. They pick up. The most difficult part for them is on the split. The new ones are going to want to be on a tightrope. So we coach it up that your feet, you're always on a railroad track. You're never on a tightrope. And you'll see the tightrope because they won't be able to come out of the kneeling stance. So, but it won't take very long, I promise you.
Coach, do you ever add any decision-making processes to this where Clay has to react to you at the end? Left or right, something like that?
You could do that, but again, I'm saying when we work with football, I've got, any coach, all of us fight for time with our head football coach. So I've got a limited amount of time because I'm doing a warm-up, I'm doing the bounding, doing the starts, and then we're into practice. What the normal order of business at Byrnes is what we come out of that warm-up, bounding, starts, we go to a 6-station, we call it SAC, speed, agility, quickness. It's 6 stations. We have 16 players at a station, okay, all very short drills. The information of that is in a handout, but this is a great drill because it's the one drill I know of that I went to my head coach with, and we fought in the beginning to put this in, but it's the only football drill I've ever seen that I can have 96 players doing something on Friday night speed all at the same time. 96 players, quick short drill, change of direction, might be a acceleration drill if hips are weak, can put hurdles in. We maybe next year we'll set up a SAC station and have everybody run through SAC, but that's the order of business hours. The thought being that they've already warmed up, they've already bounded, they've already done some dynamic, They came out of SAC. Remember I said it's 6 stations. The mindset is that if you're an offensive guy, we want to score within 6 plays. We want to come out of getting the ball, we want to score in 6 plays. If you're a defensive guy, that team should be punting on their 6th play. They should be getting ready. It should be 3rd, should be 4th and out. So they should be getting ready to punt. So we put that mindset in them. It starts practice fast because they've already been moving fast, and it carries over to the game. This year, we're taking that little 6-station thing. That becomes part of our Friday night pregame warm-up. We'll do a warm-up, just some of the drills that we do. See that? I mean, we can enforce the same thing all day. It just gets to be a mindset. Now, it's tough. A lot of that depends on your coaches. A lot of that depends, because you're one person. So if we're rotating through 6 stations, they know when they get to Bert, they better be going fast. They get to me, they better be going fast. You know, they get to Andrew, they might be able to get a step or 2 slower. So kids are smart. Kids are smart. So we figure out we're either going to do 6 reps, really game speed Friday night fast, or this will be conditioning and we'll do 6 reps at every station. So kids are pretty smart these days. They would do 6, they'll pick 6 all the time. But again, I'm a little off track because I can't show you that, and I don't have video of that because it's spread out over a whole football field. But again, I have an open door policy. You are more than welcome to come by. I'll give you the whole Bible app. Whatever you want to see, come on by. I really sincerely have an open door policy. So now we're into practice. I got way off track, down to 30, oh boy. All right, so weight room. Okay, there's a lot of things you can do in the weight room to enhance speed. Now, let me preface everything is, if you really want to get fast, you got to get stronger. There is no argument about that. We are still going to squat. We are still going to bench. We are still going to clean. We're still going to press weight overhead. You cannot get away from that. I think research shows the NSCA, I think it was in the NSCA journal a few years back, that nothing relates to the 10-yard or 10-meter start more than the squat and the deadlift. That is transferable skill and strength from the weight room to the starting block or to the grass is squatting and deadlifting. So that being said, we kind of do like it's my own version of a west side strength dynamic with the tier system kind of tossed in. But there's a lot of things you can do in the weight room. The tsunami science has really been a plus. You really need to take a look at this stuff, and I'll show you some of the stuff we do. We do a principle called, we do a contrast. So in other words, if an athlete's going to do a squat, he or she immediately is going to come and do something really fast. And what you will find out is doing something fast after a strength move does not take away from the strength move, does not affect it at all, and it's another chance to enforce speed work, speed technique, movement. So here's some of the things we use. All the stuff here, interested in through Sornex, contact Clay, he's the guy. So some of the things that we use, this is the rolling glute ham. You want to demonstrate that? Well, hamstring, one of the keys to speed. This would be one of my contrast exercises. To come off the squat, rolling glute ham. You can either do it single leg, double leg. Tremendous hamstring development. Injury, I mean, it's just injury prevention, technique, strength, all in one. Several things we do with it. We can do a rolling plank. Core stability, strength right here. You want to try the mountain climber, you can walk with it. I mean, that would be a great contrast piece of equipment. Want to try the rolling sprint? I got him. It's like a mountain climber up, but it's a tough one. Yeah. There you go, very good. Key when if you're doing these, you want to make sure that there's a lot of back leg extension on that. But again, there's something you can do contrast-wise. Speed sticks we use in a lot of different ways. We would do, show them speed step, just 1 foot on. This is a contrast exercise. So a low box, really the box height you don't want it too high. Again, reinforcing running technique. Now, when we do a contrast drill, the rep scheme is always 9 plus 9. We haven't even talked about top end speed yet. I spend a lot of time on starts, I do not neglect the top end speed. Obviously, we don't have room and time for that, but what we work on we have an acceleration drill with a stride drill that if we were to look at the average football team running a 40, and I'm talking about high school, and we were counting the steps, the average kid takes 26 steps to run a 40-yard dash. With an acceleration ladder and some stride work, top end work, you can get, I promise you, you can get most of your team at 20 strip. Even the big boys can run, with training, over time, can run 20. Your skill guys should be able to do it in 18. So same 40, who's going to be faster, 26 or 18? No question about it. So we put in their mind, you're going to run this 40 in 18 steps. So when we do a contrast drill like this speed step, it's 9 on one leg, 9 on the other. There's your 40. So speed step's real simple. Running technique, force into the ground, knee lift. Just so come off a squat, come off of anything on a lower body day, now you got it. So, and again, I don't know how many here are in a deal with high school. Most are college. You may have the same problem. I work in groups of 3. So you have a lifter, a spotter. If you don't have that third kid doing something, he's going to be at the drinking fountain, he's going to be bothering somebody else's group, he's going to be looking out the window, he's going to be doing something. So again, it keeps the kids inactive. Another variation, remember the hammer step? Again, same kind of, we make Clay come down, tap the floor, hammer himself up. So a little bit more coordination. Again, same thing, 9 on each side, takes nothing away from the strength movement. He's thinking about, he's got arm action, his posture, moving his feet, his coordination, and his balance. Last one we do, we call it running a 40, so go ahead, kneel down. Go ahead, kneel, yeah, all right, you're good. Okay, and we're just gonna run, he's gonna run, it's a 40-yard dash now with these stripes. Look at his arm action, chest, eyes, feet. So very simple drill, but it's reinforcing movement. He's coming off a squat, a deadlift, he's going to do something fast. Could be something as simple as skipping a rope, but something fast, something to move your feet quickly. So that's some of the contrast stuff. Again, the rolling glute ham would be another great contrast piece. All right, let's get into the Tsunami. Really like this technology. For large groups in the weight room, like I told you, I have a football class this semester, 96 kids in it, 96. So we got to be doing something. With the technology of the Tsunami Bar, you don't have to spend a lot of time changing weight. So remember I said it's a dynamic day, so we're not too concerned about the percentages. We've already done that work on strength day. So we're going to come back. There's some variations. Let's go ahead and show them the squat. Yep. Now let's go squat first, Clay. Yeah. So again, some of the coaching technique of the Tsunami Bar, and I think you're all pretty familiar with the science of it. As the weight undulates at the bottom, the athlete has to generate the force of 3 times what's on the bar. So in other words, in this particular case, the bar is always 10 pounds, the weight's 50, so he has 60 pounds. At the bottom of his squat, for a brief instant, as the weight's bending down, at the transition point, Clay has to put enough force into the ground to come up with 180. So you can see you put 100 pounds on there, 45 on each side, now it becomes a 300-pound squat. But it's only for a brief second, just like the start of a play. You're only generating that force for a brief second. Weight's coming up, it feels like, the kids tell me, it feels like an assisted squat. So he goes right back down, comes right back up. The format that we found works is we do 2 slow reps to get the weight moving, and it'll bounce, and then we do 6 as fast as Clay can go. And that's good right there, good. Other variations of squat we do, and all our tall sports love Tsunami, because Who hates squats more than basketball players? Nobody in the world hates to do squat more than a 6'6", 6'8" basketball guy or volleyball player. So we work with them. We call it a loaded squat. We're just going to simulate just his jumping action, his or her jumping action. So we're just going to load, and we're going to just come up on the balls of your foot. Okay, too slow. So we load, and then like Clay was doing, we'll go from a load to an actual jump. Let's go from the squat to a jump. So what we do here is we'll do 2 slow, 4 fast, and 2 with the jump at the end. That's a lot of force production, and it's easy to coach because what you should see when the weight bends down, it should go up the exact same height as it's bending down. So you can watch 8 people at a time. I just stand off to the side. If they're not getting that kind of action, they're not moving fast enough. Don't have to increase the weight. The athlete has to move faster. So we call it a speed squat, a loaded squat, and a jump squat. 3 different variations. Lunging, you can lunge with the tsunami. The Eagles tell a good story. The year they won the Super Bowl, they got tsunami bars, put a 45 on each side, and they would do walking lunges the length of the field. So that's pretty good force production because you can't help it. That bar cannot help but move. Once you start to move, the bar is going to move. So we use it to lunge. We use it as a step-up series. Yeah. Just step up. That is a pretty advanced exercise right there. That would be a standalone exercise on a dynamic day, a lunge to a step up. Okay? You want to try it overhead? You want to try it overhead? This is the advanced version now. Ohio guys, get ready. So now, you talk about core stability, core strength, upper back strength, shoulder stability, all in one motion. And it's 60 pounds. It's 60 pounds. So tremendous utilization on a dynamic day. Some of the other things we do with it, I like to do combinations. A lot of us, when we teach the clean, a lot of kids have trouble finishing their pull. They're so concerned with getting under the bar that they don't finish the pull. They're trying to jump under the bar and their legs are still bent. So we'll do a combination with it. We'll do we call it a high pull, power pull. So Clay will do this to show him the power pull. Just get him real high. That's a lot of force. Now he's got to extend his legs. So great triple extension work. We combine that up, we'll go a power pull to an overhead squat. So just go 3 and 3 because you got to. And then you just step up, boom. Everything you want in exercise, explosion, force production, balance, strength, all of it, okay? Pressing, the kids like to press. If you really, we always let them on Friday. Friday's always our bench day because everybody shows up on Friday to bench. We'll let them tsunami curl. They love tsunami curl. So pressing, overhead press, I know Elmer talked about, that's one of our staples, overhead. My background's Olympic lift, so I like to get weight over our head as fast as I can. So again, just a great dynamic tool. In the handout, there's some links to videos and stuff. So we're very fortunate to have Gordon Brown. Was in our area, so he comes up, he shows me a lot of stuff. So what we're going to do now, any questions on any of that? Any questions? Again, we're going to be here, over here sometime, so come on and try some of this. Jim?
I just want to know from Clay, what does that weight feel like to you? So if that's 50 pounds, the bar's maybe 10?
Yeah, the bar's 10 and the weight's 50, so 60 pounds of weight.
Well, what's it feel like to you?
So, as he said, there's that fraction of a second at the bottom where it's actually going to feel like you have that load on your back,
Yeah.
and you got to reverse it quick. So, that 180s, that's just here. And as soon as I feel that, I'm driving my feet to the floor.
Yeah.
So again, great coach.
Is there any way to recreate that in the gym? I know you can't probably get like that as far, but like how can you kind of recreate that same force production?
Well, you know, like before Tsunami, we did things with bands and chains and lighter load. To be dynamic, you know, the rule of thumb is if you're going to move the bar fast, you've got to take some weight off it. So accommodating resistance, a chain or a band. But I mean, this, you're not messing with anything. You know, it's the skill guys or smaller kids would do a 10 or a 25. Your bigger boys set up racks with 45 on it. So it's very, very effective. It's time effective. You get a lot of work done on a dynamic day. We want to backtrack a little bit. How are we down to 15? Okay, perfect. So that's the typical kind of stuff. You saw the contrast work that you can do with a regular strength day. So really, again, you're enforcing speed technique. You're putting speed in the mind of the athlete the whole time. What we started doing now, we had a volleyball class this semester. So backtracking before we did their workout, we came up, again, some tsunami science. The thought being, yeah, we'll do that one. The thought being, we all know that there's slow twitch fiber, fast twitch fiber. We all know there's a bunch of fiber in between. We all know that you cannot make slow twitch, fast twitch. The thing we were thinking of and trying to develop, is if through stimulation, if we can stimulate a fast twitch, if we can stimulate a muscle, will it adapt the properties of fast twitch? And if we know it won't change, but will it adapt to it? And if it does, how long does that last? Does it last 5 seconds? Does it last 10 minutes? That we don't know. Furman University did the original science on the Tsunami Bar, and talking with Dr. Carazano, I think they're trying to put together another study with some of the things that we're going to show you. This stuff has not been shown. I mean, we've been working with this for a semester, but we've had some really, really good results. We used trained athletes. It was a varsity volleyball team. After their warm-up and their work, we did these 4 speeds. We call them 4 speed stations. 4 reps at each station. We did that before any other work. Added the jump sticks, which we're going to show you, and at the end, we tested them. Then 8 weeks later, we tested them again on a team average of trained high school volleyball girls. The team average increase in the long jump was 7 inches. 7 inches. In the vertical, 2. In the one-step approach, almost 2. Now, that being said, the first time we tested them, we didn't spend a lot of time on teaching them how to standing long jump. We didn't teach them the vertical jump. We didn't teach them the one step. We just ran them through it. So I think there's this next test, the second test, we spent more time explaining how the drill works. They were a little more excited about the second one. I think they'll be real excited about this last test. I'm expecting, you know, increase, not that kind of increase. You're not going to improve 7 inches in 8 weeks. So I had to throw that in there, but we're looking forward to this next test next week. So a couple things that we use for stimulation. Just a band, a tsunami-like bar, and then Clay's going to do 2 foot patterns. He's just going to shake his foot as hard as he can, get some enactment in the thigh. And this is a lot harder than it looks, so we'll be over here with it. Then he steps over. Oh yeah, flexor and hamstring. That will light your hamstring up in about, we do 12 of each, and it lights you up instantly. Then we switch feet. That was one station. The second station you already saw, we did the rolling glute ham. We did single leg. We did two sets with the left leg, 2 sets with the right. The third station you saw, where you had them run on the box with the speed sticks. And then the fourth one is the one we really want to end with and show you today. Gordon came up with this idea that if we took a tsunami-like bar and how could we still increase force with quicker movement rather than an exercise with jumping with it. Found that jumping with the big bar was a little cumbersome. It was good for squat jumps and things like that, but when we tried to do this kind of drill with it was just a little too cumbersome. And what we found, interesting, the more weight we put on, it would make sense that the more force the athlete was exerting. Well, what happened was the more weight we put on, they started to actually bend the bar inside. The bar inside would actually be bent. So we lightened the load up to get the same oscillation. The athlete has to do what? Has to move faster, so, which is what we wanted in the first place. So again, it was strictly trial and error. So we do a couple of patterns. We call them jump sticks. I mean, literally, you guys are the first people outside of Byrnes High to see this stuff. So I really want an opinion. Try it, take a look at it. I think there's some validity to it. I hope we can get that study, but it just makes sense. So Clay does a couple of patterns. He's going to jump side to side, up and down, and then do 3 verts. And you can see the oscillation in a very light weight. That's a lot of force production. So let's go back to that again. What we want with the athlete is we don't want them covering a lot of distance with the jump, right? Okay? So real quick foot patterns and then 3 verts. Now we do the verts in 2 different ways. We can either spend a fraction of the instant on the ground with his knees bent to load back up, or he can do it as fast as he can recover with a straight leg. So do straight leg first, straight leg verts. So get them going. There we go. That's a lot of force. What you look for, what your powerful athletes, dynamic athletes, and you count them as he jumps off the ground, that bar is going to oscillate 2 or 3 times in midair before he lands. That's a lot of force production. Not using the arms at all. They're just hooks. Hooks at his side. This is 6 pounds. 6 pounds total with the 1 pound. 4 pounds and then 2 with weight. So it's a total of 6. Do we have the 9s?
Yeah.
Do we have the other ones? Try the other ones. So these were the ones we came up with, the 6 pounds. These were the 9s that we started, and we found out there were...
This is going to oscillate too much. But we'll see it.
See how much he's getting? So he was starting to make the bar inside was bending. So it would make sense, well, if I added more weight, it would slow him down. It didn't at all. It was more oscillation. So what we found, to get the same movement, we lightened the weight up. He's got to go faster. He's got to go faster. So let's do that one more time. So let's go bent knee this time. Go 3 side, 3 front to back, 3 bent knee. Quick, 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 quick. Up, up. There. Good, up. Good. So again, the first time Clay's done this, so what we want is less distance covered and quicker feet. Less distance covered and quicker. You're almost doing it in place. Front to back. And then the advanced version would be what? 1 leg. And that is tough. Is he wearing out? Want to try 1 leg? Because that's about all the time we got. So, does anybody know where the AED is? Now, right now on the record, I have the compressions. So, Coach, you're in charge of the breaths. It's a lot harder than it looks. Again, I think there's some validity. We hope we can get a study, but invite you to come and see it. I'm serious. We're all trying to get better. I think there's a lot of validity in the tsunami science. We got to move out of the way for the next speaker, but we'll take questions. Anything you want to see. Got some contact information. If you're in South Carolina, please come by. Thank you for the time. I appreciate it.